Hello and welcome back to the Colorado Rockies franchise. As you can see, we're at the start of spring training. Before we start talking about the roster battles and position battles, we're actually going to be talking about last season and the offseason. Let's start by talking about the offseason. As many of you know, we signed Carlos Correa to that 5-year, $100 million deal. If we hadn't signed him, we would have $40 million in available budget space. And I don't want to be sitting on that much cap room. That's just a little too much for me, so I want to go out and spend it on a quality free agent like Carlos Correa at a position of need. So you're talking, we still have $20 million left in budget, which is still quite a bit. And looking at it from Correa's point of view, he's going to be 31 when he hits free agency again if he opts out of that 5th year, which would make it a 4-year, $85 million deal. So in the long run, he could probably end up signing another deal similar to the one he just got, which would make him the highest paid shortstop of all the guys that just hit free agency at the same time, like Trevor Story, Baez, and all of them. So he can end up making the most money of them, and he gets to go to play for an organization and be the face of that organization, which has been top 10 in attendance ever since its existence, being the Colorado Rockies. And obviously you get to play at Coors Field, and if you're worried about him making the Hall of Fame, well, he's probably not going to anyway, after the trash can sign-stealing scandal. So who cares if he plays at Coors Field? As many of you know, Hall of Fame voters love to hold people out because they played for the Rockies. Like, look how long it took Larry Walker to make it, who's our only Hall of Famer. And Todd Helton's not going to make it, more than likely, unfortunately. So yeah, that's a Correa signing and rounding that up. And now let's talk about last season record-wise. We finished 66-96 on the season, which was very bad. 3rd worst record in all of baseball. We were 10-16 in April, 9-19 in May, 13-14 in June, 9-15 in July, 12-15 in August, and 13-13 in September/August. Or September/October, my bad. Which October we went 2-1. So our only winning month was October at 2-1. Very bad. Now let's talk about the NL West and how bad we were against them. 5-14 versus the Dodgers, 8-11 against the Padres, 9-10 against the Diamondbacks, and 6-13 versus the Giants, which makes us 28-48 versus the NL West last season. So if we want to have a better record this year, which I do, I would like to try to win around 75 games, about. That'd be a nice stepping point for me. We have to definitely play better versus the division foes that we have. Obviously, the Dodgers and Padres are both very good. Both won the last 2 World Series. You had the Dodgers in 2020, and then you had the Padres last season. So it's going to be a very tall task for this team, but that's another reason I wanted to sign Correa. I don't want to be last place in the NL West necessarily, but also not the worst team in the league. So we had some money to spend. That's why I decided to sign Correa and sign a couple other veterans like Jake Diekman. And I hope to continue to build this organization up, mostly through the draft and prospects, but this just so happened to be a star player we could go out and acquire in free agency. Now we need to build around Correa with some of the guys we drafted like Alex Amaya and Jeff Asimov. We also have some other guys we had already on the organization like Zach Veen, who's going to make a nice play out here in left field, heads up to get the runner at 3rd base. And we also got Michael Talia. So a couple guys that are getting a shot at spring training that could be very big for the future of our organization. You could see Talia actually batting right here, but he's striking out. So we got to build around Correa with all these prospects we've acquired and drafted and whatnot. And not only build around Correa, but hope to build this organization up to where it's better than the Padres and Dodgers, which that's extremely asking, considering how the Dodgers are just insane at developing pitching, and they just got all these random guys that feel like they're top 100 prospects, and the Padres are not far behind them with that kind of thinking. They just got tons of amazing prospects in their minor league system. Then you have the Diamondbacks and Giants, who are both quality organizations with tons of veterans, and they could play, above 500 ball at any point. So we're just sitting here down in the dumps, hoping to, tank long enough that the Dodgers and Padres just fall off. I don't think you could do that. I think you have to do what we've been doing, which is acquiring a bunch of young talent, but also go out and get a star and show him that you actually mean business, which hopefully Correa can live up to the contract we gave him and maybe even better. That'd be nice. Now let's start talking about the roster battles and position battles. You can see we have a couple all the backups in the game right now. Santiago Espinal, he's one guy who's fighting for a roster spot. Play some utility role for us if he ends up making it. I'd like to see him make it. It'd be kind of nice, considering we got him in that trade with the Blue Jays last year. But there's Talia hitting into a double play. Very unfortunate. He has had a rough first game here, hoping to make the team and push Yuli Gurriel, who we also got in free agency. Jake Diekman, another free agent we got. He's getting a fly out here, hoping to close this one out and give our manager there, Anthony Iapoce, his first win as a manager in the major leagues. And he's getting out number 2 on a ground ball to Colton Welker. So now just 1 out away. Jake Diekman actually is going to strike out Plawecki here. So he gets a 1-2-3 ninth inning and gives Anthony Iapoce his first win as a manager. But you'd like to see that in the regular season. Hopefully he wins plenty. Now you can see we're about halfway through the spring training of 2022 here before the season. So let's take a look at some stats and talk about him. Ronaldo Lopez is one guy we definitely have to talk about. If his struggles continue into this season, he's probably going to be gone or optioned or DFA'd or something, because we have other guys that we'd like to call up. Derek Rodriguez has had a pretty good start to his spring. Probably won't make the rotation, but he could fight for that last spot in the bullpen as a long reliever. Then we have other guys like Brian Mata, Jay Groom, Ryan Rollison, we don't have on the 40-man right now. I decided not to do it. We're going to start him at AAA, but if Ryan Rollison has like 2 good starts, we're probably just going to call him straight to the major leagues. Because his ETA, his MLB ETA was last season, but he just wasn't quite good enough for my liking at the AA level. So we're going to start him at AAA for a couple starts and then probably call him up if he gets on fire. And Lopez is one of those guys who could just be bumped out of the rotation or out of the organization or down to AAA or whatever if he continues to pitch bad. Hitting wise, Harold Ramirez has not a lock to make the roster. Him and Hilliard are 2 guys that are fighting for that last outfield position. Lewis Brinson, he's struggling, but he's going to make the roster. Orlando Arcia and Ryan McMahon, and I would say Colton Welker, also Santiago Espinal, are 4 guys that are all fighting for one spot on the bench as a utility player. Because VML Machine's going to be one utility guy we have on the bench, but the other 4 have to fight for one spot. And I would probably place my bets on McMahon winning it just because he's probably the best of them. But let's see. We got plenty of games to go here in the spring training. Got Lewis Brinson hitting 105. Hopefully he can get that up because we need him to play hopefully a bigger role. He's probably going to get to start versus lefties this season at the major league level in center field. And we'll be moving Tapia to left then when that happens. And then Larnack will probably play some light field. So here's a double here off the wall for, I believe that's Colton Welker. Again, he's a major league hopeful. He struggled last season at AAA and the majors, but getting a shot here in spring training, hoping to turn things around. And Hilliard, he's going to ground to second, so a couple of guys stranding runners on. Not what you want to do when you're trying to make the roster. Now, Davey Garcia, I really have high hopes for this guy. He's off to a slow start here in spring. Didn't have the greatest second half with us, but I still believe he could be the future ace of our team, or at the very worst, a number 3 or 4 on the team. I'd love to see him continue to develop here, as he's actually striking out the 2-hitter here, and now Pastel. And he's got Nick Solak, who was the Rangers All-Star last season, and he's going to strike him out with a nasty curve. So he sets down the Rangers here at 1-2-3. Definitely want to see that carry over into not only the next inning, but into the regular season. Talia, unfortunately, gets shafted here. A nice diving play by the Rangers first baseman. Ryan McMahon hitting 111 in spring. He's striking out. His roster spot, like we said, is not secure. He needs to earn it. One guy fighting him, Santiago Espinal. He's going to blue point into left field here for a base hit. Nice to see that. Lewis Brinson 1 for 1. And he's going to drive this one to left field, but just miss out on a home run. And remember, it's not really about the results totally in spring, right? It's about kind of the process and seeing like hard hit contact. You want to see a good approach at the plate. Like Welker there, absolutely a terrible approach. Striking out, not looking very good. But Brinson, he hit it pretty hard to left field, just happened to be an out. And Ramirez, a good job here, lining us to left for a base hit, but runner's going to get thrown onto home. Third base coach, remember, we have an all-new coaching staff. So he's going to be extra aggressive probably here in spring, as Garcia's up to 5 strikeouts and has allowed no hits. Well, he's going to allow the first hit and run here on a solo home on the left field. This one's absolutely blasted out of here. It was the number 9 hitter, the catcher, who got him. Hope to see less home runs given up by the pitching staff as a whole, especially the rotation. Hilliard, a poor approach there, chases a slider way out of the zone. Michael Talia, one guy really would like to see make the major leagues right away, but striking out looking on a changeup on the inside corner. Remember Justin Lawrence? He pitched at that AAA game we watched to start last season. He was a starter, more of a long man though, relief pitcher. Well, he's giving up a base hit down the third baseline here. It's going to roll all the way wall and be a 1-out double for Lewis Brinson. And he's actually going to run all the way to third base, heads up base running. Like to see that at Brinson. And then Blackman, of course, he's just trying to stay ready because he has no concern about making the roster. Obviously, he's going to be on it, but you want to stay ready and get your at-bats in so you can start off the season right. Driving in a run there with the triple. Colton Welker, he's going to line this right off the glove of Lawrence, and the third baseman teleports to this one. We're going to take another look at this. Look at that speed, man. He is speed. Absolutely insane. Lucky for Welker, he didn't make the play. Harold Ramirez is going to line this one off of Lawrence. So back-to-back liners off of the pitcher. He's all right, but he's giving up a run now. Actually, 2 of them. And this one by Hilliard is going to be floated out to center field. Another failed at bat with runners on for Sam Hilliard. Cannot be doing that when you're trying to make the roster. Michael Talia, he's going to fly out to left field. Weak contact from 2 guys I would like to see. Hard contact. You can also see that only the 1 hit and 1 run allowed through 5 innings for Davy Garcia. Brian Mata, he's not going to make the Major League roster right away, but we wanted to get him some innings and get him to face some Major League competition while he's striking out Guzman here with a fastball. Now he's taking on Billy McKinney, who's been around a little bit now at this point, and gets a weak contact from him, but broken bat, going to flip this out in the left field and be a double. Unfortunate for Mata. Now, Jose Trevino, remember he hit that home run, had the only hit up until now, and he's going to ground this one up the middle. Nice play here from Ryan McMahon, backhanding, playing second base here, getting the out at first. Mata looking to avoid the run, and he hangs a curveball, gets away with it though. It's going to be a fly to center field, so Mata, not a terrible inning, saw some good, saw some bad. And now you got Ryan McMahon, he's going to hit this one hard to left field. It's going to go into the corner almost off the wall. They were shifted, so it'd be a double. Nice, like to see that from a guy fighting for a roster spot. And McDowell, his plan for him is to be the third catcher, as in he's going to go to AAA and probably be at the minor leagues. But he's going to actually get shafted here as V-Mile Machine gets gunned out at home. You can see our third base coach being extra aggressive there. Hopefully he calms it down a little bit in the regular season. But I guess you got to know who's got speed and who doesn't and what they can do. So you might as well try it out in spring training. This time he opts not to send him, and the guy probably would have scored. That's the way it goes. And striking out looking here, Mark Zagunis. Not the best look for him. Now Colton Welker, who's 2 for 3. He's going to ground this one. Diving play by the third baseman. So unfortunately, Welker grounds out. See, Mata is still out here in the 6th. Taking on Nick Solak, striking him out with the fastball. Looking electric there with that one. Hopefully he can keep this up, and if he does well at AAA, again, we mentioned a couple starters. Lopez is struggling in spring training, but if he struggles in the regular season, Brian Mata could be a guy who comes up. Ryan Rollison or Derek Rodriguez, if he doesn't make the major league team, he's going to be at AAA and be called up right away. Jeffrey Springs, he's a relief pitcher that was probably our best last season. And it's unfortunate that he's struggling in spring. Right here, giving up a solo homer in the left field. Hopefully this does not carry over to the regular season for him, because we have some other relievers that were really making it tough for me to send them down. And you'll see them later in the episode. See, Brinson, 3 for 5. He had some good contact all day, some good at-bats. Like to see that. Holder has good inning. Yeah, let's move on to the last game here of spring training. You can see it's 10-16, so this will be the last game. Jay Groom would actually get to start here. He's another guy not going to make the Major League team, but we wanted to see him against some Major League competition, and all of our starters were stretched out enough that we didn't want to push them. And a ground ball to short for Jay Groom, but Arcia nonchalantly throws this one and gets an error. Not what you want to do when you're trying to make the roster and it's the last game. You want to leave a good last impression. Now they walk the second hitter, so now you got 2 on and nobody out for Whit Merrifield, who's going to bloop this one into right field. Sam Hilliard's going to cut it off all right, but still allow a run to come around and score. Now you got the bases loaded for Hanser Alberto. He's just going to flip this one into right field, and Hilliard's going to make a nice play, but they're not going to test his arm, which is good to see that they are concerned about how good he is fielding and arm-wise, but his bat has been pretty terrible. It might be pretty tough for him to make the roster over Ramirez. Espinal makes a nice play out there in center field, showing off the versatility because he plays mostly middle infield, but he can play a little bit of outfield. Now you got Ryan McBroom in a full count who's going to line this to left. Got Zach Veen playing out there today. See the lineup? You got Arcia, McMahon, and Espinal fighting for one spot with Welker. So they got 4 guys for 1 infield position. Then you have Harold Ramirez and Sam Hilliard fighting for the last outfield spot. So let's start by watching Harold Ramirez hitting 250, and he's going to line us to the right center gap. Exactly what you want to showcase. The ability to go to the opposite field with some authority. He rounds second and doesn't go to third. He probably could have made it and had a triple, but he stops at second with a double. Wonder if that'll impact the game later. Well, it's not going to impact it here. It's going to be a RBI single for Espinal. Now Ryan McMahon's going to walk, loading the bases, so those two showcasing some good at-bats. Orlando Arcia, 0 for 1 on the day, and he's in a full count with the bases loaded. He hits it pretty well, but he's going to fly out to center field, unfortunately leaving the bases loaded. Now we got Sam Hilliard up, 0 for 1, really struggling with the bat. He's striking out on a fastball up and away. You got Harold Ramirez, 1 for 1. Murray double to the gap. Well, this time he's going to drive this one on out of here. Solo home run to the left over the leaping glove of the left fielder. So he has a home run and a double on the last day of spring training. One guy that I was talking about earlier, Ben Bowden, going to be really tough to send him down. He's been fantastic in spring, but I got to give the benefit of the doubt to Jeffrey Springs. He was so good for us last season. Bowden made it very tough, but he's going to have to start in AAA. We don't really want 3 lefties in the bullpen, at least to start the season. But Bowden should make it even harder here, getting the first 2 outs nicely. And he's going to walk the next guy with a hanging changeup in Benintendi, and Nicky Lopez is going to just flip this out in the left field. So they got 2 on and 2 out for the middle of their order, Whit Merrifield. Ben Bowden's going to strike him out looking, though, showing his ability to get out of jams, though he created that one. Orlando Arcia 0 for 2 on the day, looking to do something while he's striking out in the curveball. Not the best look if you were trying to make that last impression. And Sam Hilliard, he's going to walk, so he's got a nice at-bat this time, walking on a borderline pitch. But Harold Ramirez, the other guy he's fighting, who's 2 for 2 on the day, he's going to make it 3 for 3 as he grounds this one through the infield on the hit and run, showing his ability again to go to the opposite field and hit it where they are not. Well, V-Mile Machine, he's going to line this one out of here for a 3-run homer. He's going to make the roster and be a super utility guy for us at that level. He's had a pretty bad spring, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and let him start on the Major League roster. Arcia, he's striking out in a slider, not really showcasing his best. Unfortunate for him, but looks like he will probably have to go down to AAA because Ryan McMahon's probably going to take that last spot from what we've seen, not only through all of spring, but through the last season. Now, Harold Ramirez is a triple away from the cycle. He's going to flip this into right field, and he's going to be played nicely by the right fielder, so Ramirez has to stop at second, so he will not get a cycle. Remember earlier, he could have tested it, his first at-bat. He could have tested and tried going to third, but he didn't. So no cycle for Ramirez, but he's going to be making the roster as the last outfielder. And yeah, I guess that's nice for him. We'll see how much he plays. Probably play quite a bit still. Scott Oberg pitching. Remember, we had him on the IL all of last season, but he's probably going to be our closer this year. Getting a strikeout here. Now he's trying to close this one down. It's a 1-run game. And he's going to get a fly ball to the left, so he's got 2 outs. Now he's 1 out away from shutting this down and ending spring training. He's got Kelvin Gutierrez up at 250 for the Royals, and he's going to strike out in the fastball up in the zone. You can see the final stats there from the game of the last game of spring training. But now let's move on to the pitching. You can see Kolek, who had a tough spring. He's probably going to go down to AAA to start the year. Almonte, we'll get to him, I guess, in the full season stats or spring training stats. Well, let's start with the hitting. Miguel Andujar, he's making the roster, obviously. Tapia had a great spring. Correa was fine. Don't need to do too much. Blackman, he'll be all right, I'm sure. Yuli Gurriel, he's going to be the everyday first baseman. He absolutely killed spring. Trevor Larnach was fantastic. Harold Ramirez will be the 4th or the 5th outfielder for the team. He's going to make it. Wilson Ramos, we all know he's making it. And Brendan Rodgers is going to make it. Ryan McMahon, he struggled, but he's going to make it as the infielder, utility infielder for us. Hopefully he can turn it around and have a better regular season than he did last year. Lewis Brinson's going to make the team. Orlando Arcia, tough luck, but he's going to go to AAA to start the year. So will Mark Zagunis. Victor Caratini is going to be a platoon catcher with Ramos. Max McDowell is going to go to AAA as a 3rd catcher if we need him. Colton Welker is going to go to AAA. Hopefully he has a better season than last year down there, and we call him up if he ends up hitting better. Hilliard's going to go to AAA. He just did not have the bat to earn the spot on the roster, unfortunately for him. Vimal Machine, he struggled here in spring, but we're giving him the benefit of the doubt. Santiago will be in the AAA, unfortunately, just not enough roster spots. And Michael Talia, he's going to be in AAA. Just terrible spring. Did not look ready against the Major League pitching. And we have Gurriel, so we're going to start Gurriel at the Major League level and then have Talia at AAA. Zach Veen, he had a good spring, but we're going to have him down at AA/AAA for the season. Rotation-wise, we mentioned Lopez struggling at the Major League level with us and the White Sox, just never been able to really put it all together. Hopefully he has a better start to the regular season than he did here in spring. Otherwise, he could find himself off the team in favor of some of these other guys. Sammy G here, who we're going to take a look at. He's going to make the team. Absolutely had a fantastic spring. But Derek Rodriguez made it really tough. We're going to put Derek Rodriguez in AAA. But like I said, if Lopez has a slow start, Rodriguez could come right up and start. Almonte is going to make the team. We're going to give the benefit of the doubt to Jeffrey Springs and let him start at the Major League level. He was too good last season. Jordan Sheffield will be here. Rodolfo Martinez, he's going down to AAA. Daniel Bard struggled in his new role, but still going to make the team. So will Heath Holder, and Jake Diekman obviously will make it after signing that deal with us. Scott Oberg as well. Now Mata had a great spring. We're going to put him in AAA to start. He could probably be up at some point this season. Same with Jay Groom. Both of them looked great in spring, and I'd love to see it from some of our young pitchers. Ben Bowden, he could be one of the first relievers we call up if he continues to pitch that well at AAA or somebody struggles. And Tyler Kolek, lastly, struggled at the Major League level here in spring, but I'm sure we'll still see him at some point this year. So that's going to be all for spring training. I'll see you for opening day next time. So I'll see you then. See you next time.